Good morning all. Good morning students. Welcome to Royal Palace PU College online classes. Now we are dealing with electrochemistry. In the last class I said you the variation of molar conductivity with concentration as well as conductivity with concentration. And now with that topic, with that Kohlrausch law applications and all, we have done with galvanic cells. In this next part of the electrochemistry, we are going to deal with electrolytic cells and batteries. Let us see first about electrolytic cells. Electrolytic cells and electrolysis. Now you know what are electrolytic cells. The cells, the galvanic, the electrochemical cells which converts electrical energy to chemical energy. I said one example of a Kastner-Kellner process, right? Similarly, in metallurgy, you might have studied about electrolytic refining method. In electrolytic refining method of copper, for example, what we will do, this is DC current or voltage or the battery we connect. What we will do, we will take a impure metal as anode and pure metal a thin piece of pure metal as cathode. For example, impure copper is anode, pure one piece of metal or a wire is cathode. Then we take electrolyte copper sulfate in this. So once the current is passed through this solution, what happens is the impure copper, generally you know that at anode oxidation takes place. Oxidation takes place at anode, that is here copper gets oxidized to copper ions, and those copper ions from the solution they get deposited back at a cathode. So this is one method of electrolytic refining of metals. So what we are doing here, you are using current to synthesize or to prepare pure metal. So this is one type of electrolytic process we are used in metallurgy. Now let us see about the next process, electrolysis. What is electrolysis? Electrolysis is the process of decomposition of compounds or material or substance into its constituent elements by passing DC current or by passing voltage through the solution. That is called electrolysis. Now here we are mainly concerned with some laws, that is Faraday's first law, and second law in electrolysis. Just the basic idea we have. What is Faraday's first law means? The mass of the substance deposited at an electrode is directly proportional to the amount of the charge passed through the solution. Meaning is, mass is directly proportional to charge. Now mass is equal to I write Z into I into T. You know that charge means current into time. Now what is Z here? Constant. Which constant means? Electrochemical constant. Electrochemical constant it is. That is Z, and Z can be given by M by IT. Electrochemical equivalent also it is called. Equivalent also it is called. This is first law. What does Faraday's second law states is, when same amount of current is passed through different electrolytes connected in a series, then the amount of substance deposited is proportional to their equivalent weights. That is given by formula M1 by M2 is equal to E1 by E2. This is according to Faraday's second law. Now, these just the laws, ideas we need to keep in the mind, because mostly this is like in the deleted part of the this one, electrochemistry. They have edited, so it is deleted part actually. So just basic idea I am giving you. Next, coming to another important topic, products of electrolysis. Products of electrolysis. Now, on electrolysis, which type of products you will get? It depends upon the products of electrolysis. Depends on the type of electrolyte, also the type of electrodes, and also on the standard electrode potentials. Okay. So, the products of electrolysis depends upon, first of all, which material you are taking for electrolysis, or which type of electrodes we are using. Electrodes are actually two types basically, inert electrodes and or passive electrodes, and active electrodes. And it is also dependent on standard electrode potential, that is nothing but standard reduction potentials, E naught values. Now, how it is dependent? We are going to explain it with an example of NaCl solution. Example 1, let us assume we are considering fused NaCl or molten NaCl, fused or molten NaCl we are taking. If you take fused or molten NaCl, what happens is, only fused NaCl means what? Only NaCl is present, nothing more than that. No water, no other elements, only sodium ions and chloride ions are present in molten NaCl. Okay. So, what happens? At anode, oxidation takes place, as you know. Which oxidation should take place? Anode. Anions should get oxidized, that is, chloride ions undergo oxidation. At cathode, reduction takes place. Which reduction takes place means Na plus ions takes electrons and it is Na plus forms, it is deposited as sodium. So, what are the products of electrolysis of fused or molten NaCl means? At anode chlorine is liberated, at cathode sodium metal is deposited. Okay, two products. Now, in the example 2 or with the same example of NaCl, but here the considering is if you do electrolysis of aqueous NaCl, if instead of taking molten NaCl, if I take aqueous NaCl, then which products are obtained? Here we are doing electrolysis with platinum or inert electrodes and we are taking aqueous solution of NaCl. In aqueous solution of NaCl, what are the ions that can be present? First of all, NaCl can ionize to form Na plus ions and OH minus ions, Cl minus ions. Similarly, H2O is also present. Aqueous solution means water is there. So, H plus ions and OH minus ions also present, right? Now, what is the thing here? If it is molten NaCl, there is only Na plus ions and Cl minus ions in the fused state or in the solution. But in this case, there are Na plus ions, H plus ions, Cl minus ions and OH minus ions. Now, there is competition between whether at cathode Na plus reduction should take place or H plus reduction should take place. At anode, whether oxidation of chloride ion should take place or oxidation of hydroxide ion should be taking place. So, here competition is there, either sodium should undergo reduction or protons, or chlorine should undergo oxidation or hydroxide ions. This is what we are going to see now. Now, I am saying that here in this case, at cathode, what happens is, first of all, if Na plus ions undergo reduction at cathode, Na plus should take electron and it should get converted into Na solid, right? If H plus has to undergo reduction, then what should happen? It should undergo reduction to form H2 gas, no? E naught of this one, this reaction is minus 2.71 volts, and as you know, this is standard hydrogen. If you take the voltage 0.0 volt. You should remember that at cathode, reduction reaction with higher electrode potential, with higher standard potential or higher electrode standard potential should takes place. That means now at cathode which reaction should take place? Either reduction of Na or H plus. This is simple. Na's value, reduction potential value is minus 2.71, which is lower than H plus reduction, it is 0. So minus value means low, 0 means it is higher number, right. So that means which reaction is taking place now at cathode? H plus reduction should take place, but this H plus is obtained from where? It is obtained from water. That means I am writing a reaction of water. Instead of taking H plus directly, I am taking reduction of water to form H2 gas, plus if one electron takes and forms this H2 gas, then the remaining part is OH minus ions. Okay, OH minus ions. Okay, so this is happening at a cathode. Now what happens at anode? At anode, what is the possibility you have now? At anode, either chlorine should get oxidized or hydroxide ion should get oxidized. Now, if chloride ions are getting oxidized, then its potential is, its standard potential is 1.36 volt. Similarly, if water undergo oxidation, or else I will write like this, 2H2O oxygen, it forms O2 gas plus 4H plus 4 electrons. Let me take this. And here its potential is 1.23 volts. Okay. Now, at anode what is happening? At anode what is happening? I will write this above. At anode what is happening now? Just look there. We have two competitors, chloride ions and this OH minus ions. Means OH minus ions are also obtained from water. So I am writing directly reaction with water. So water can undergo this one to form O2 H plus electrons. That is the voltage is 1.23 volts. Generally at anode, what should happen means oxidation reaction with lower potential should takes place, but due to oxygen over voltage, or it is also called over potential or bubble potential also it is called as, due to oxygen's over voltage in the oxidation of H2O, oxidation of Cl minus ions is favored. Okay. That means what is the reaction happening at anode? This reaction is happening at anode. So finally the overall reaction, what does it happen is So, the overall reaction that happens in electrolysis of aqueous NaCl is NaCl plus H2O electrolysis gives NaOH plus H2 gas plus Cl2 gas. Now, so do you find the difference now? If I take aqueous NaOH, if I take aqueous NaCl, I will get H2 gas at cathode, Cl2 gas at anode. If I take molten NaOH, what is the products I will get? Molten NaCl. Molten NaCl, what is the products I will get? I will get Na plus or sodium and chlorine gases only, right? So, sodium is obtained at cathode, chlorine is obtained at anode, but here hydrogen and chlorine along with NaOH. So, this is what you will find. If you take molten solution, molten you will get this one. If you take aqueous, you will get this one. So, why it is happening? Because of the electrode potentials or the over voltage of the oxygen. Now, this part is completed about the electrolysis. Next topic we are having is about batteries. So, what is a battery? Battery is nothing but a device that stores some potential, right? In that, basically there are two types of batteries, primary and secondary. Primary and secondary. Primary batteries, once they are used for a period of time, they become dead. The chemical reaction gets completed and it is completely dead. We cannot reuse it again. So, not reusable. But in case of secondary batteries, after using for some time, you can again you can again charge the cell, recharge it, and you can reuse it. So, reusable, these are reusable. Now, in our syllabus, in primary batteries, we have only one battery, that is mercury battery. According to the deleted portion, only mercury battery we have now, or mercury cell, mercury battery. Okay? In this, anode is zinc amalgam, cathode is paste of mercury oxide with coke or charcoal. Electrolyte is KOH solution with a paste of zinc oxide. Now, what is happening in this cell is, at anode oxidation takes place, that is Zn amalgated zinc when reacts with base OH minus, it forms ZnO, zinc oxide, okay, and H2O. At cathode, what will happen means, the mercury oxide react with H2O by taking the electrodes, electrons, and it is converted into Hg liquid plus 2OH minus. Now, after balancing this, you can write the overall reaction as zinc amalgam plus HgO giving rise to zinc oxide plus Hg. Zinc oxide plus Hg. This is the overall reaction that happens. Since there are no ions in the overall reaction and there is no aqueous state in this cell can produce an EMF of or potential of 1.35 volts continuously until it's dead. 1.35 volts this cell can produce. And what is the use of this cell? Where you will use this mercury cells means in small electronic devices like watches, okay, or hearing devices like what you keep for ear tone and all, there they will use this small button batteries, mercury button batteries. Coming to the next battery, actually in secondary batteries, in the previous syllabus, lead acid cell is also there, but due to some portion is deleted, we have only one battery now in secondary batteries, that is nickel cadmium cell. Nickel cadmium battery or cell you can say. Now in this battery, anode is cadmium metal, cathode is nickel grid, means like nickel wire or plates coated with a nickel oxide layer. Okay. Electrolyte is concentrated potassium hydroxide. Potassium hydroxide. Now, what is the overall reaction that takes place in this cell means cadmium reacts with the nickel 3 hydroxide, and this happens while discharging, that is nickel, cadmium reacts with nickel 3 hydroxide, produces cadmium oxide with nickel hydroxide plus water. Nickel hydroxide plus water. While this reaction is happening, the potential produced by this cell is 1.2 volts. 1.2 volts. Forward reaction is discharging, and when you are again charging the cell, backward reaction takes place. So this is about batteries topic. Now with this we have done with almost all the theory concept or the PU concept of electrochemistry. Let us do some numerical problems based on what I have said from lecture 1 to this last lecture. We will do some numerical problems and we will wind up the topic. Okay. Now these are some model questions that regularly appear for PU examination. So commonly appearing questions. First question, let us look at: represent the cell in which the following reaction takes place. Magnesium plus silver ions 0.0001 m gives rise to Mg plus 2 0.13 m plus silver. Calculate its E cell if E naught cell is equal to 3.17 volt. Now E cell is given, E cell we need to calculate, E naught cell is given to us, and concentrations are also given to us. That means what to apply? Nernst equation, right? So, before applying Nernst equation, there is also another part, represent the cell in which following reaction takes place. Representation of the cell means they are asking us to write the IUPAC representation, okay, IUPAC representation. Now, according to IUPAC representation, how to write this cell? You see, which is undergoing oxidation here? Magnesium is undergoing oxidation, means it is a anodic half cell. That means magnesium, it is solid, single line, magnesium undergoing oxidation to form Mg+2 ions, and this Mg+2 is aqueous state, and its concentration also, if necessary, we can write in this. Double line indicates what? Salt bridge, which is undergoing a reduction here, silver. So, silver plus you take it, it is also now aqueous state, whose concentration is also you need to mention 0.030, okay, followed by single line again and silver solid. Now, this is IUPAC representation of this reaction or that cell. Let us come to the solution of E cell. Now, what is the formula for E cell? According to the Nernst equation, E cell is equal to E naught cell. I am writing direct formula, that is instead of writing 2.303 RT by NF log products by reactant, I am writing directly the formula which is suitable here, that is minus 0.059 by N. What is N in this reaction? The N in this reaction is 2. Okay? Why? Because one magnesium gives 2 electrons. Here silver 2 molecules, 2 ions, 2 atoms, so 2 electrons. Log concentration of which ions product is magnesium, no? So, concentration of products is Mg+2 ions divided by which ions? Silver ions. But what is the stoichiometric coefficient? Ag plus raised to the power 2. Now, what should be the answer here? E cell is equal to, E naught cell is mentioned in the question, 3.17 minus 0.059 by 2 log. Now, what is concentration of magnesium? It is 0.13, okay, divided by, now silver is 0.001, it is, means I can write 10 power minus 4 to the power 2. Can I write like that? Because it is 0.0001, means 10 raised to minus 4. Now, I can write this one as E cell is equal to 3.17, okay, minus 0.059 by 2. Now, this calculation is log, you can take it as log A minus log that one. So, log A by B is log A minus log B, you can take like that. So, if you take it, the total calculation here I am writing it as, so this is a 10 raised to minus 4 and it is taken 2 times square, no. So, 10 power minus 4 into 10 power minus 4 is 10 power minus 8. So, log, let me write one more step here, 0.13 10 power minus 8, or else I can also write this one as 13 by 10 power minus 9. Can I write? Okay. So, if I solve this one, then E cell is equal to 3.17, it will become the total solution of this I am writing here, that is 0.5 478 by 2. Okay, if you solve this one, log, if you take 13, if you take log 13, it is 0.113, and this is, it will go numerator, then it will be plus and all after all calculations. So, E cell after all calculations, the answer will be 2.93 volts. This is first problem's solution. First we have represented the cell, then we have taken the Nernst equation and we have calculated. This is the EMF of the cell. That is first question. Second solution, let us see. The standard EMF of Danielson is given to us, it is 1.1 volt. Calculate the standard Gibbs energy for the cell reaction. Now, what is the delta G formula? Delta G only they are asking. So, minus NF E naught cell, no? That is the formula, no? Relation between delta G naught and E naught, right? Now, delta G naught they want. So, delta G standard is equal to minus N. N value for galvanic Danielson is 2 into 96,500 coulombs per mole 1 Faraday into EMF is 1.1 volt. This all calculations it lead to 212300 joules per mole. This all calculations. You can also report the same thing in kilojoules also. Okay. So, this is problem 2 solution. Delta G formula, delta G naught is equal to minus NF E naught cell, N value 2 for galvanic cell Daniel cell reaction and standard potential 1.1. Understood? Right. Next go to third solution. Third one. What is third one? It is based on Kohlrausch law, you see, limiting molar conductivity of NaCl, HCl, and here NaAC meaning is, it is CH3COO-Na, it is sodium acetate, okay. And in the question HAC means acetic acid. I hope you understood this. Now, let us read the question. Limiting molar conductivity of NaCl, HCl, sodium acetate. This is sodium acetate. R 126.4, 425.9, 91 Siemens centimeter square mole inverse respectively. Calculate the limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid they want. Okay. Now, limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid, that means for weak electrolyte, limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolyte. How to calculate? The conductivities of the strong electrolytes we should add, and whichever electrolyte is having common ion with this particular given compound, that we need to add, and the remaining electrolyte we need to subtract. Meaning is here we need to add the electrolyte values of HCl and sodium acetate. From that we need to subtract the lambda infinity limiting molar conductivity of NaCl. This is the formula we need to apply. So, if you want any weak electrolytes infinity, lambda infinity, we should add the infinities of those electrolytes which have common ion with the weak electrolyte, and we should subtract the electrolyte who is or which is not sharing any common ion with the acetic acid or the weak electrolyte. That is, common ion here is acetate ion, H plus ion, H plus ion. In NaCl you do not have any common ions. So, let us add all these and get the answer. So, what is HCl potential value they are given is 425.9 plus what is sodium acetate value is 91 minus what is NaCl value? It is 126.4. So if you add this and subtract, the final answer you are going to get is 390.5 Simon centimeter square mole inverse is the units. Let us go to fourth solution now. Okay? So that is based on Kohlrausch law. Let us see fourth question. How many Faradays is required for the reduction of 1 mole of aluminum ions? Now if you write the stoichiometric equation of reduction of aluminum ions, Al plus 3 aqueous on reduction, how many electrons it require? Because it is plus 3, it requires 3 electrons. So it on reduction produces Al solid. Okay? As you know, the charge carried by 1 mole of electrons, 1 mole of electrons is equal to 1 Faraday, right? Therefore, here how many moles of electrons are required for the reduction? 3 moles. So automatically, if 3 moles of electrons are required, then how many Faradays is required for 1 mole reduction? It is 3 Faradays. It is 3 Faradays. That is the answer, solution for fourth question. So 3 Faradays of current is required. So with this, we have completed electrochemistry. Thank you.